We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Vikings Uncensored, the studio show. Vikings squeaked out a much more difficult than it probably needed to be win on Sunday versus the Chicago Bears. Of course, broke all that down Monday night on Ryno's Rants. We'll get Lance's quick takes on that here in just a minute, but bunch of news stuff here kind of to go through from the last couple of days here as we're recording on Tuesday night, but some statistical stuff, statistical stuff coming out after week 6. The Minnesota Vikings now have the highest rated left tackle in the NFL through 6 games. Christian Darrisaw ranked number 1.
I love it. I love it a lot. I like it a lot.
Then another one, Danielle Hunter with 2 sacks on Sunday, now tied it once again for the league lead with 8.
I like it a lot.
That was his 78th and 79th career sacks. He needs one more to move into sole position of 7th all-time for the Minnesota Vikings. Everson Griffin currently holds that at 79.5. So with 1 sack against Brock Purdy on Monday, he would move into 7th. He needs 7 more to pass Jared Allen for 6th all-time, which if he keeps going at the rate he's going this year, that number is possible.
Man, if he didn't miss the better part of 2 years, we'd be talking about like him as one of the all-time greatest to ever play at that position, honestly, because he is on pace. And I mean, I think this is kind of a scary thought, but I think Hunter's best years are still in front of him, man.
He's still in his prime at the very least.
Yes, he is in his prime for sure.
I mean, yeah, if he hadn't missed those 2 seasons, I mean, we'd be talking about him probably up
being
in the
one
top,
of the greatest to play the position, man.
He'd be up in the top 3 anyway. Right now, Chris Dolman is 5th with 96.5. That probably would be gone. Then the top 4, you've got 4th is Alan Page, 3rd John Randall.
Hall of Famer.
Then Jim Marshall should be Hall of Famer.
Right, what the fuck, man? Get Jim Marshall in the Hall of Fame.
And then, of course, Carl Eller with the all-time lead, but that's at like 133, I believe it is, depending on which site you look at. But
people have been talking about Hitman as a possible future Hall of Famer. That's been going around now this season, and rightfully so. I think the same could be starting to be said about Hunter because honestly, since he's came into the league, outside of the Donatel bullshit, and in spite of Donatel's scheme, Hunter has consistently gotten pressure on the quarterback game in and game out since he has been in this starting lineup.
Well, even with that garbage last year, he had 10.5 sacks.
In spite of Donatel, yes. He is in the league right now where you start to question where he's a good football player to a great elite type of player.
Yeah, I mean his talent's never been in question. It's just
No.
that year and a half plus that he missed screwed everything up. But
I mean, he's on pace to have the best season of his career, and I don't think this is it. You know, he is. Look at him; he's a specimen, man.
mm-hmm. Then there's one other statistical thing that ran across. Somebody named Tom Bliss, who's some data analysis guy on
Tom, Dick, or Harry for sure
on the X-Files. Anyway, I thought this was interesting anyway. But he's got what he calls the luck dashboard. It takes into account like lucky plays, weird bounces, all this other stuff. The Vikings are 32nd in the league by a wide margin in all of his categories, with a total overall luck rating of minus 133.5.
That's a really neat stat. That's kind of cool that you brought that up, because you know what? We are contenders. We are. We just can't get our shit together. And that stat right there is very telling of it, because shit, it's like the most Viking-esque stat ever. And it's like it was made for this team. I mean, go back to years past and do the same thing and see what you get. It's pretty close to the same thing.
Yeah, other than like last year, probably 2017 for the most part, we'd be higher up in the good luck area. But
I'm gonna tell you right now, and this is a typical Viking fan crap coming out of my mouth about right now. We get to 4-4, Ryno. This team becomes kind of scary. Our Vikings team becomes kind of scary. We are in no means out of the playoff race, and we already got numerous outlets talking about tanking, if you want to so call it that way. I mean, the thought has been there because we've looked that bad, and at the same time, you have to look at who we've beat. We've beaten the Bears and the Panthers. But another thing is that we've hung in games with the Chiefs where we could have won it had the ball bounced another way. We could have won that Philly game had the ball bounced another way in our favor. It's like we're being punished.
We're beating ourselves.
We're beating ourselves, but we're being punished for the outcomes of the last season. This is like some outlandish crap, but we got to start winning games. This team has the talent to win some games if they could just get their shit together. This defense, the ceiling is empty. We're top 15. I'm sure you're getting there for sure. We're in the 15.
We'll have that down the tail of the tape when we get down there a little bit. But
get it together. Let's start playing some games.
Yeah. But then some roster move type stuff here and issues. Of course, Marcus Davenport, the key injury to come out of that Bears game. High ankle sprain, likely missing 4 to 6 weeks.
Do you think he's out the rest of the season? Do you think that's possible?
Depends on what happens in the next 4 to 6 weeks. I mean, if we're contending and whatever all else, I think they push him to come back. If we're, six more weeks into it, we're 3-9 or whatever the hell, then it's
exactly. We just don't know what's going to happen. We really don't. And the thing is, the hardest part of our schedule will be over after that San Francisco game. Then if we want to go out and get that last playoff spot, and if we get serious, I think we can do it.
Yeah. I mean, we still have Cincinnati on the road, and we have 2 games against Detroit coming up, which those 3 games are all going to be tough. And the way this team is playing, as we showed how bad it was against Chicago, albeit we did come out with a win, there is no gimme games on the schedule, even playing supposedly inferior opponents. That's the part that worries me.
I think it's all about just figuring it out within, the team. A lot of things have not bounced our way in crazy fashion, as given by what we had just talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Figure that out, and things start to swing our favor where we're holding on to possessions and driving the ball and actually finish. And we've been talking about we need to start finishing drives. There's no reason this offense can't score touchdowns every time we get the ball.
Yeah.
At least he's scratching your head because all the stats out there mostly point to this to being a winning team, but when you look at the record, that's the polar opposite of what you would expect to see.
Well, and the funny thing of it is, the two worst statistical games we've had from at least on the offensive side of things, are the two games that we won.
Exactly. That goes exactly. What the WTF, Ryno? WTF?
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you on it, but anyway, one other roster move that just happened here late Tuesday afternoon before we started recording. Wide receiver Tristan Jackson waived, most likely.
Wow.
Most likely back to the practice squad. My guess is they'll activate Kene Nwangwu and bring him onto the active roster for this week. Thought he might have played last week, but I think they're probably going to want the possibility of him housing a kick or two, against San Francisco. So that's my guess as to what they're doing with that additional spot on the 53. But beyond that, one thing I want to get your opinion on here. We saw it again in the Chicago game that Alex Madison he was averaging like 2.3 yards per rush or something like that. Yeah. And then Cam Akers comes in, gets one rush, 8 yards, and then he never touches the ball again, except for that time when Kirk did that thing.
Just here as his offense goes back to work with a 1st and 10. Cousins under pressure just flips it. That's a live ball. And jumping on it is T.J. Edwards.
You saw T.J. Hawkinson come in motion. You would think that one of those guys, and this happened a week ago as well on a similar type.
Yeah. And then you're like, really? Yeah.
So you think Akers should be getting?
You should be definitely getting more carries. What is going on?
Yeah, we brought him in here, and then
we only give him. How great of a team guy this is. How good he is in the locker room and all that. And he goes on the field, and every time he touches the ball, something good happens. For the most part, other than the mistake that Kirk made by trying to be Patrick Mahomes. And
that was nothing on Akers. I mean, he did what he could just to knock the damn thing out of bounds.
And thankfully, it wasn't a turnover because we ended up keeping the ball there. When all was said and done.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, it could have been called a turnover, and you really couldn't argue against it because it was that close.
See, as fans, we see it. We're like, why aren't the guys that are making plays getting the ball?
Yeah.
I mean, granted, Osborne had made some plays that were pretty. Addison had that touchdown. That was great. Jordan Hicks, my God, man.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, we got T.J. Hawkinson, who's forgotten how to catch the ball.
Got paid, and he got butter hands.
Well, I made the comment on the show on Monday that I think that extra weight in his wallet is not allowing him to fully extend it out to be able to catch the ball or something. But
that's one of those things. That there's a few things in the game that upset me, and one of those few things is when a ball hits a professional receiver's hands and they don't bring it in. That's one of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get paid, when you earn that next paycheck, continue to elevate your play, or if not farther beyond.
Yeah, don't get fat and happy and then not care after that kind of.
I don't know.
I'm not saying. I
don't know that I believe in that type of thing with all players, but Hawkinson is playing. He's not playing like his normal self. That's just the truth.
No, so I don't know what it is with him, but here again, that falls into that bad luck category too. I mean, we've had that one couple of games ago where he went out of his hands and popped up in the air and was intercepted, and that cost us a game, and fumble at the goal, on the goal line, that cost us,
it's really mind-boggling things.
It is.
Josh Oliver fumbling after like a 15-yard gain, popping out. Brandon Powell, the punt returns at 30 yards, somebody pops it out in that one game.
Jefferson fumbles out the end zone trying to score.
Yeah, what is going on?
All the good luck we had last year, it's the the gods are trying to level things back out to get it back to our normal level of shittiness. But we've had so much bad luck over 60 years. You'd think we'd get more than one season.
You know what? You know what though? You know what? We're not out of it yet, and you get hot, and you make the postseason, and all that's forgotten.
Yeah. Well, I mean, case in point, last year Detroit started out 1-7 and
boom. Great example. I was just
and should have made the playoffs. I mean, they kept Green Bay out, but if one other game had gone a different way, Detroit is the final wild card.
That's a fantastic example, Ryno. Yes, absolutely. I was just thinking about that same example last night. Your team gets hot. Like I said, all it takes is us to figure it out on offense and for things to start, swing the pendulum to start swinging the other way, and we become a contender, I believe. We just got to hang in there and get over that hump.
Yep. All right. Anything else you want to hit on that Bears game before we move into the 49ers preview?
Defense is getting better. Defense is getting better every week.
Run defense was suspect again against Chicago. They gave up 165 yards or whatever it was, but to a team that had its top 3 running backs out, that wasn't good. But
yeah. But I mean, I like the play calling. I like the aggressiveness, and with that, stuff like that's going to happen.
I mean, yeah, we knew we were going to get burned once in a while, but we don't have the defensive line for a super stout run defense.
That's a good example. That's a good point. And the thing is, though, is that we're still playing pretty good defense in spite of our. But therefore, our run defense is better than last year, statistically.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just with this team, we just got to get our shit together. That's all it is.
Yeah.
The talent's there to win some games.
Right. All right. So with that, we'll roll over into our preview of the Vikings and San Francisco 49ers game Monday night on ESPN, ABC, Monday Night Football. US Bank Stadium hosting. Here's a couple of things we got that, we talked about this a little bit earlier that we have to clear up. We have a league worst 17 drops through 6 games. That was some of that stuff we talked about earlier.
Like magic, how right, like voodoo.
Right. But turning that around, the Vikings are this is a explosive play percentage on offense. We are the 6th best team in the league for explosive plays at 11.3%, which kind of surprising.
So 17 drops turn into catches, and we're number 1 in the league in explosive plays. I bet it.
And probably a 1-loss team.
Yeah.
Quit
teasing us.
On the other side of the coin, though, explosive plays allowed. The Vikings are 1st in the NFL. The defense is only giving up explosive plays on 6.4% of plays.
Oh, man.
Okay, farmer friend. Some key things to watch, though, coming up for this game. On the 49ers side of things, Christian McCaffrey, probably unlikely to play. Deebo Samuel and Trent Williams also are questionable whether or not they'll be able to go.
Take advantage. This is the moment. This is the moment, man.
I mean,
on Monday Night Football where Kirk can't win.
You take Christian McCaffrey.
That game.
Yeah, you take McCaffrey out of that scenario, and that 49ers offense becomes completely different. Let's
go scare the fuck out of Brock Purdy.
Yeah, and if Trent Williams doesn't play, there again, you get that's another benefit to us. You put because you're lining Danielle Hunter up over that side.
You know what I loved? I'm going back to the Chicago game. That first play, man, out the gate, smacked Justin Fields for a sack. That was beautiful. And I would, if we could do that to Purdy the first play of the game, that would be ideal to me.
Yeah.
So Make Brock Purdy look like that 7th rounder that he actually is. And I'm sure every team says that. I'm sure every team does say that.
It's just being able to do so.
Right.
But you take away his two best weapons with McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel,
Ayuk
and you stand a lot better chance of doing it.
Ayuk doesn't get the kudos that he deserves.
Yeah.
Ayuk is pretty dangerous.
Yeah, Ayuk's a good player too, but he's no Deebo Samuel.
Deebo Samuel isn't Deebo Samuel this year though either.
Yeah. They're still winning, so that's the biggest
They are winning until last week.
Yeah. But anyway, let's roll into the tail of the tape for this matchup. Starting out, as we always do with the offense, total yards. San Francisco is 6th. Vikings are 11th. Points scored. 49ers are 2nd. Minnesota is 15th.
I'm gonna a little side note on that. They're second because of McCaffrey, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That doesn't mean that they can't come out and whip our ass. So either
right.
But like I said, McCaffrey's been a big reason why they are at that point.
Mm-hmm. Passing yards, the Vikings are 3rd in the league in passing. San Francisco is 11th. But in yards per attempt, San Francisco is 2nd, and the Vikings are 10th. So they're hitting it on the big plays a little bit more than we are, and we're doing that more dink and dunk.
But McCaffrey has a lot to do with that as well, I believe.
Right. Then over to rushing yards, 49ers 3rd in the league in rushing, again mainly due to McCaffrey. Vikings are 27th in rushing. As we talked about earlier, Madison had a couple of decent games, then he pretty much disappeared against the Bears. Prime time for Cam Akers to get more involved in the game this week, I think.
I'd like to see that. And you know what? Cam Akers, in no disrespect, but so far in his career, in my opinion, has been a poor man's version of Dalvin Cook. That is, and no disrespect to Cam Akers, but that means I want to see this dude, because a lot of it's been because he has not been given the chance, to be a full-time back.
Mm-hmm.
And
he was hurt too
and everything that I've seen so far has been good. And I would like to see the guy get more. Yes, absolutely.
Yards per attempt when it comes to rushing, San Francisco is 7th. The Vikings are 19th. So we're a little bit better there than we are in our yardage, but still massive room for improvement. So it's, offensively, we match up versus their offense, I think, pretty well. It hurts us with Jefferson out, but if McCaffrey's out on their end, you're taking a bullet out of their gun too, so to speak. So rolling over to the defensive side of things. Total yards allowed. San Francisco is 4th. Vikings are 19th. When you look at yards per play, San Francisco is 3rd. Vikings are up to 9th. And that kind of leads back to that explosive play thing that we talked about earlier.
Right.
Points allowed, though, San Francisco is 2nd. The Vikings are 23rd in points allowed.
That'll get better. Get better.
Well, so a lot of that goes too with that time of possession thing that we've been on the negative side of that so many times so far this year.
A hot take is that our defense will be in the top 10 of this league by the year's end, I believe, overall.
Well, I mean, we're 15th right now, and if you told me we're 15th at the end of the year, I'd have been happy with it. So
yeah, I believe that this defense continues to get better as the year goes on. Yeah. I don't think it's plateaued yet at all by any means.
No, I don't. I hope not. But
no.
Passing yards, 49ers are 11th. Vikings are 20th.
That's beautiful because going from like damn near the last defense in the league in passing, defense from last year to this year, it's great.
Mm-hmm.
We're on the right path.
Yeah. Yards per attempt passing, 49ers 3rd, Vikings 19th. But yeah, I mean, we talked about this before the season started. Flores' defense typically start out slow. It's about week 7, week 8, whatever, that they start really finding their groove. Well, that's where we're at right now. So
Yep. And I mean, it just shows you night and day. This defense is with the personnel that this defense has. It's meant to be aggressive, like it's been being called. You know, and this 3-4 defense is starting to look not so. And he's not even calling 3-4. I've seen multiple looks on this defense so far this season.
And, some of the guys are finally starting to show up. Caleb Evans played very well, I thought, against the Bears. Andrew Booth Jr. played very well against the Bears. He was in there
Murphy. Murphy played good too.
Yeah, Murphy as well. And, of course, we talked about Hunter, Josh Metellus, Jordan Hicks. All those guys had, played well. The place where we still struggle is up front.
Yep.
Anyway, back to the tail of the tape here. Rushing yards given up. 49ers are 7th in the league. Vikings are still 18th. Even, and, we had one game where the Eagles ran for about 200 on us and then 160 last week by the Bears. You take those two out, and we're pushing top 10 run defense probably.
I'm telling you, we're going to be top 10 defense by year's end.
But interestingly, yards per attempt, the Vikings are 10th, the 10th best team in the league on yards per attempt for rushing. San Francisco 17th. The problem when the Vikings get into it is like that Philly game when they just started running it, 3-4 yards a crack, and we couldn't stop them. They, first, second, third, first down, just keep on getting those 17-minute drives.
It was a good game plan by Philly that ultimately worked in the end. We just weren't ready for it.
Right. They're looking at blitz percentage. Of course, no surprise again this week. Vikings are still at number 1, blitzing at a 57.9% clip through 6 games.
Yeah, just wait till that blitz starts to hit home and teams start to get pissed off. I'm for real. I mean, let's go make Brock Purdy wet his pants.
Mm-hmm. Now, on the other side of things, San Francisco is only 29th in the league in blitz percentage. They only blitz like 20.3% of the time.
That means their coverage is going to be probably a little bit harder, offensively, to play against offensively.
Yeah, they'll sit back and play coverage, and they're trying to get home with their 4 guys. So, which when you got Bosa, you can get home with 4 guys a lot of times. So.
I'll be seeing lots of checkdowns.
Yeah. Sacks by the defense. Minnesota is 9th in the league in sacks. Surprisingly, San Francisco is only 19th.
Things are looking in our favor.
Mm-hmm. Pressures, though, San Francisco is 5th in the league in pressures. 69 total pressures at a 31.1% pressure rate. The Vikings are 12th in the league in pressures with 55 at a 23.6%. Missed tackles. So San Francisco is 2nd best in the league with only 18 missed tackles. The Vikings are sitting at 30 missed tackles, which is, I believe, like 12th best. So we're not missing a lot of tackles. There's been some that have been in key spots that have hurt us.
A lot of them have been in the backfield. That's what's frustrating.
Yeah, we should have more TFLs than we do because we're still swarming to the ball, and they're usually not letting them get out of a pile. I mean, there's been a couple of times where it's happened, but
do you have third down percentage coming up yet or anything like that?
No, I didn't get that one this week.
That's a big thing for me. Like last week, we had him on a 3rd and long, and giving up those. And this has been something that's been covering over this team for some time. You get those 3rd and long plays, and you can't end the drive on those defensively. Mm-hmm. It's like a punch. It's like an uppercut or a punch to the gut, man. For a defense.
Yeah. Well,
3rd and 19, and the offense is converting on you. That takes a heavy toll on a defense.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty bad when you sit there and you see a team is sitting in 3rd and 16, 3rd and 20, and you're like, well, they're going to convert this.
Two great plays, followed by one shitty play that gives up 20 or more yards.
Mm-hmm.
You have some eye-popping plays there on first and second down on defense, like literally sometimes, and then you get to that third and long or whatever, and they complete, and even the defense feels more than what the fan feels. The fan feels in a certain way, but imagine how the people that are actually out there feel when they give up 20 yards in that play. That affects your team morale in that game.
All right. Well, that's what we have for Tale of the Tape for this week. Anything else you want to hit there before we roll into the next section here?
No.
All right. So with that, we're going to roll into another one of our viral videos of the week. So go grab yourself another beer out of the fridge, crack it open. Check this out. We'll be back in just a minute.
あ、ちょっと待って、いかんで、いかんで。
Good luck, guys. Oh. Really?
And of the Holy Spirit.
There goes.
Yeah.
All right, we are back, and now we are going into our almost famous, pretty well known, and regionally acclaimed predictions segment, where we not only talk about or make our picks for the upcoming Vikings game, but we also pick the rest of the NFC North. And this week we do have a full slate of games to go for. Starting out as the Detroit Lions go to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. What do you think there?
I mean, this could go either way, honestly. The Ravens are not a team that is just going to sit back and fall over. God, that Detroit offensive line is so good. I can't speak highly enough of that offensive line in Detroit. And for a quarterback like Goff to have that, what a good thing. Yeah. I wish we had that for Kirk. I think Detroit wins. I don't want them to, but I think Cleveland is just as capable. Or Baltimore, excuse me. Same division at least.
Used to be Cleveland.
Yeah. Baltimore could win, but I believe Detroit's going to go on and win that game.
This is going to be a very tough test for Detroit, I think, going into that environment. The Ravens are sitting at 3-3 right now, I believe. But it's going to be a test for Detroit. I think this game will show us if Detroit is absolutely legit or if they, if they're a little bit of smoke and mirrors. I guess I think they're legit.
I don't know. I think Detroit's kind of already established who they are, but I think they can be better yet. They're going to.
They've beaten up on some lesser competition. They did beat the Chiefs to open the season, but
they're going to be a tough outing, I believe.
Yeah, but I think I'm just gonna go off the keel here a little bit. I'm going to say that Baltimore sneaks out a win at home against Detroit.
That would be fantastic. I hope that's what happens. Don't get me wrong. I'm picking Detroit, but I ain't not going to take a favor from Baltimore either.
Right. All right. Next game. The Las Vegas Raiders come to Chicago to take on the dumpster fire known as the Chicago Bears with no Justin Fields. Tyler Badgett will start for them this week.
I don't know, man. I don't know either. I mean, I'm going to have to go with the Raiders because the Raiders, they have a decent defense, you know. I'm just going to have to go with Raiders. I don't know a lot about the Raiders. I just know that they're doing all right. They have a good defense. Chicago is what they are. I mean, we beat them. So
yeah, the Raiders aren't good. Chicago, I think, is worse. Now, to Badgett's credit, he did lead them on a touchdown drive against us, but the Bears are 12-alarm dumpster fire. The Raiders are a 4-alarm dumpster fire, but I think
Max Crosby over there is pretty good.
Crosby's, he's their top pass rusher.
He's an animal. And I don't know, is Jimmy G going this Sunday? Is he slated to go?
I think he's probably still out. I don't know for sure, but I don't know that it matters.
Right.
So I'm
going to
taking
go with the Raiders over the Bears.
Taking the Raiders too.
Yeah.
Then the third game, Green Bay travels to Denver to take on the Broncos.
For real? For real? I can't wait to play Jordan Love. I can't wait for our defense to play Jordan Love. I'm excited. I think our defense should be excited too when we play Jordan Love.
Oh, that's next week. So
yeah, I know, right? I'm gonna go with Green Bay, and they make their fans, you know, all fancied about how good they're playing and all that. But I think, you know, I can't wait till we play Jordan Love. So
yeah, I think so too. I mean, Denver is a bigger dumpster fire than Chicago is, if not.
Oh yeah, and I love it too because I don't like.
It could
not. You go ahead and finish it.
It couldn't happen to a bigger asshole. Sean Payton deserves every bit of this karma bullshit that he's getting. So
exactly. Yep, that's where I was going.
So I'm taking Packers here too.
But like I said, man, I like the challenge of facing Jordan Love just to see. You know, we whooped Justin Fields' ass, in my opinion. You know.
Yeah.
And if we could do that to Fields, I believe Fields is a better quarterback than Love is. And man, I'm excited to play Jordan Love.
It's going to be interesting, but we'll talk about that next week.
Yep, absolutely.
Then, of course, the creme de la creme Monday Night Football, San Francisco 49ers, U.S. Bank Stadium taking on the Vikings. The floor is yours there, Brunswick.
This is the game that, I mean, I said the same thing about Kansas City. I said the same thing about Philadelphia. We're just hanging around though. We're just hanging around, you know. We should tank for the season.
No,
you know, tanking. I don't believe in that shit.
I don't either.
You know, you play the games, you know. Do I hate floating around and draft mediocrity in the middle of the rounds, you know, for years on end and not getting, I don't know, you know, maybe they should do a lottery like they do in the NBA.
The lotteries are based on luck, and that would mean if the top 10 all get a chance at the overall pick, we'd end up picking 15th.
We're fucked either way.
Right.
So, but no, man, I mean, after San Francisco, we got our divisional games against Green Bay and Detroit, and then a bunch of odds and ends, tools and pieces that they can throw in our schedule as well. But we get past San Francisco, especially with a win on Monday night, where Kirk typically cannot win games, and we come out and beat San Francisco, and then we come out next week and take care of business, and we're sitting back at 4-4. This team is back on course.
Yeah.
So we're gonna win. We're gonna beat San Francisco, and that's the madness that it is to be a Vikings fan.
I wish I had your optimism, but looking at least on paper, we have no business beating the Chicago Bears or beating the Chicago Bears. Nope. On paper, we have no business beating the San Francisco 49ers. They are clearly the better team.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you right now, we would have had no business beating the 49ers with CMC playing on Sunday. You take him out, and that's a big part of their offense, and that's a big reason about why they are where they're at right now. And you know what? I don't care. You go in.
I was getting to that.
Oh, okay.
No, but if ever there was a time for the Vikings to beat San Francisco, it would be now because they are dinged up. Would it help a lot more if we had Justin Jefferson? Absolutely, it would have. But with them missing Christian McCaffrey, potentially Deebo Samuel, potentially Trent Williams, that makes this game a whole lot more attainable. And, you know, the way this team is this year, it wouldn't surprise me to see us walk out of there Monday night with a victory. It also wouldn't surprise me to see us walk out of there being beaten by 3 scores. I mean, I said last year.
No team has done that to us this year yet, and I don't look for a team to do that to us this year, to be honest with you. I don't look for that.
Just the way this team is this year, it wouldn't surprise me either way. No, last year I said we had no business going into Buffalo and beating the Bills. We managed to pull that off. If we can beat San Francisco this weekend, that is hopefully that potential springboard that turns everything around for us. No matter how shitty the first 6 weeks have been, if we can beat San Francisco, it's a whole new season. Yeah,
that flicker of a light that's there gets a little bit brighter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for real. And if we go out and we beat San Francisco, the talk is going to be about from fan base bloggers and such that it's not over, and it's not. You know, it's the truth.
Yeah,
we're still in it.
That being said, though, I think San Francisco does win this game. It's it's the one on the schedule that we had pegged as a loss from the beginning.
Boo, Ryno! Chuck it tomatoes! Boo, Ryno! Boo! Boo!
Hey, I'm not gonna go ducky and bunny and rainbows and unicorns prancing through flowered fields and stuff like that. They got to show me more. The offense has got to show me that they can play the way they should play because we have the talent to do so.
I think a lot of that goes right on Kevin O'Connell's shoulders.
It does, and that's the thing. The offensive line is starting to play better.
Ding!
It's possible we may see Dalton Reisner start this week because of Ezra Cleveland's little ding up last week. As of Tuesday, haven't heard whether or not he's going to be able to go or not. Reisner stepped in. The rest of the Chicago game did just fine. I don't think he allowed any pressures coming up his side, so that's a good thing. Bradbury played the entire game, played fairly well.
I love your optimism, Ryno. Ding. Yes.
So the pieces are all there. We just have to put it together. And a lot of that is coaching and game planning and the situational masterclass crap that O'Connell talked about last year all the time. We don't have that this year. Short yardage, 2 minutes, end of game, all that stuff. Red zone.
I so badly want this team to be the team that we know it can be.
Oh, yeah, me too.
You know, I so badly want this team to become the team that it should be. You know, get rid of those crazy plays. Get rid of that. I don't know what it is. I do meditate before games or something, or I don't know. But you gotta do something. Limit those turnovers, man, and start believing in yourself. And good things will happen. And we're gonna win this game.
All right.
We're gonna win this game, Ryno.
All right. Well, with that, that's all we've got for this week. Want to thank everybody for watching. If you've not done so, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you give us a follow. Helps us out a ton with the metrics. Make sure you follow our Facebook page. We got a lot of stuff going on over there too. Next week, of course, Green Bay, another North Division rivalry game. We will break that down next week. A little programming note, there will not be a Rhinos Rants on Monday due to us playing Monday night. The plan is to have Rhinos Rants on Tuesday so we can do our normal breakdown of the game, vent line, all that other kind of good stuff. And then next Friday, our plan is to go live to preview the game against the Green Bay Packers. So make sure you tune in for that as well. Thank you again, everybody. And with that, take us home, Lance.
Okay, so earlier in the episode, we talked about Detroit last year having that run at the playoffs and, missing out slightly. Well, we have somebody on our staff that actually had a run like that as well. And I remember Flores back in the season that was, controversial about Miami supposedly exposing the tank. And despite those rumors, Miami went out and they won they won and I think did they make it in the playoffs that year? I don't remember.
I don't know, I think they won like 6 out of their last 7 or 7 of their last 8 or something like that.
So I mean, we can get it done. We've had coaches that have been there, that have been counted out, and have put it all together and made it work. So also the offensive line play against Chicago was much, much, much better than what it had been all year. It might have been the best play of the offensive line has had this season. So, with those 2 notes, I look forward to seeing you all next week on the live show. Millie, Aubrey, if you're out there watching, Dad loves and misses you. SKOL.
Have a good weekend, everybody.